Hey guys, welcome back to the Wellham's World YouTube channel, and today we have another tier list. It's another Pokemon related tier list, and last week I did all Paradox Pokemon. This week we're doing all Mega Evolutions for Pokemon. Now obviously Mega Evolutions span across multiple generations in terms of the Pokemon that are affected by them. Not every Pokemon has one. The ones that do are generally pretty fucking cool. I do really like Megas. I think they're probably my favourite sort of gimmick for a Pokemon. Obviously you've got the Paradox ones in Scarlet and Violet. You've got the Z moves in the Alola region. You've got Dynamax and Gigantamax, but I think I really do prefer Mega Evolutions. I think are the best sort of gimmick we've had so far, and obviously the most popular in terms of the community, and that's probably why they've decided, hey, we're doing Pokemon Legends ZA, let's bring them back. People love them. I do actually really like Dynamax and Gigantamax as well. Next week we'll do a tier list on Gigantamax forms. Not every Pokemon in Sword and Shield has one obviously, but there are some that do, so we will look at those next week. Which I do really like. I think they're very underrated, but obviously there are 48 Mega Evolutions, 46 different Pokemon have Mega Evolutions, and Charizard and Mewtwo both have 2 each. They have Y and X and Y forms. Now there are 50 in this tier list that I made myself. And that's because it includes Primal Groudon and Primal Kyogre. When I looked at a few lists of all Mega Evolutions on like different things, Primal Groudon and Kyogre were on some of them, and some of them they weren't. So basically, there are 48 Megas, and then the 2 Primals. So there's 50 on this list. But some people said they count them, and some people said they don't. So I've just kind of stuck them on. Maybe we'll discuss them as like a separate thing, rather than them being part of Megas, but they're both very cool. I mean, Primal Groudon literally looks like a volcano's erupted. It looks like molten lava. Very, very cool. So like I said, 50 to get through, 5 categories. We've got top 5, great, good, meh, and not a fan. Anybody that's watched a tier list recently on my channel will know that this is sort of just the tiers that we go for now, especially with Pokemon. Obviously last week with the Paradox Pokemon we had a top 3 instead of a top 5 just because there's less of them. But for this one I decided to go top 5 because generally speaking there are some that I'm not a fan of, but generally speaking I really like all of these. I like Megas, and it's going to be hard to choose just top 5. It's going to be very hard to choose a top 5, but I can see a few in this list already that I'm thinking, yeah, I am going to put them in the top 5. So, disclaimer: based on what I can see at the moment, I don't think there are going to be any in not a fan. I always put not a fan in there, so it's sort of like each tier list is consistent with the tiers that it has, but I don't think there's going to be any in there. Actually, you know what? There is. Now, this could get me in some. This could be a controversial take. I'm not sure if it is or not. I do not like Mega Venusaur. I like regular Venusaur, but for me, Mega Venusaur doesn't do enough, if anything. So how am I going to grade these? You may be asking. Pretty much just going to be on if I subjectively like them or not. If I think the design's cool. If I think the changes between regular and Mega are enough for it to be considered Mega. I think some of them, for example, Mega Venusaur just gets a bit bigger and gets a flower on his head, an extra flower. Not for me. Not a fan at all. There would be some in meh. For example, Mega Diancie, Mega Aldino or Ordino, I'm going to put those straight away in meh. And that's because I don't give a shit about Diancie or Aldino as Pokemon. So the Mega's not really bothered me in any way, shape or form. I just don't really care. And I'm also going to put Mega Gardevoir in meh, because a similar thing to Mega Venusaur. But I just don't think it does much. I don't think it changes much. And I don't think it looks... I don't think it gives enough of a change for it to be considered a Mega. Like, if anything, like I said about Venusaur, looks like it just gets bigger. And that's all there is to it. Looking at the others on the list, I think mostly go into good, great, or top 5. We'll go through them as we go, where I decide to put them. Actually, you know what? Can I pop him there? Mega Mewtwo Y. Shrinks, gets a tail on the back of his head. Just not for me. I think this design is not great at all. I personally do prefer Mega Mewtwo X, and this is going to come as a shock, but I do also prefer Mega Charizard X. But Mega Mewtwo X, I just think it gets a bit tankier. It looks a bit stronger and sort of just does look like an upgrade, whereas I think it's hard to argue that Mega Mewtwo Y, I mean, at least like design wise, just looks like a downgrade. And while we're on the conversation of Mega Charizard, I will put Mega Charizard Y into good, and we're not going to touch Mega Charizard X for now. We're going to leave him where he is, but for now we're going to just leave him. But obviously, out of the two, Mega Charizard X has got the cooler colorway. It's got like the flames sort of coming out the side of the mouth. Charizard, I think Charizard Y as a design looks like just like a next step of an evolution. Well, not like a next step of an evolution, because it does look like Charizard, but I could imagine this just being regular Charizard is kind of the way I look at it. So having Mega, where it just becomes a bit improved and gets extra like spikes and extra details in the design, that kind of fits the mold with the Mega Charizard Y. But Mega Charizard X is just really fucking cool. So obviously is going to go way higher. And I have just realised Mega Blastoise is going into meh. I really like Blastoise. I think he's my go-to from the original Cantonian starters in terms of the final evolution, which I like the most out of them. The issue I have with it, I like the hand cannons that he gets, but the fact this cannon, the shell looks really weird to me. Also, in terms of Megas themselves, both of Charizards I prefer, especially like I said X, but both of Charizards are just better designs. And I think, like I said about Venusaur, and I think that it can be said with a few of these, it just doesn't really look Mega. You know, you look at Mega Gengar and he gets like quite a distinct design difference. You look at Mega Pinsir with the wings, and it like distinctly looks different. You look at Mega Houndoom and he gets more armor, things like that. Mega Lucario looks badass as fuck. But I think the three initial Cantonian starters, I know, and if you count Venusaur, Blastoise, and Charizard Y, I think that kind of is a bit lost in it. You know what? I'll also put Medicham in meh. We can actually put a few in. You know what? I've just decided we can put a few in meh. Camerupt. I'm tempted to put Latios and Latias in there, but I feel like I'm going to get shit on if I do that. But do I just stand on business? Now, you might be wondering, why the fuck is he putting these in there? I'll go over it in a second. I'm just double checking whether there's any more No. Okay. So, no, Mega Banette can stay it for now. So, Mega Sharpedo, Mega Camerupt, Mega Medicham. The main reason for me putting these in Meh, I mean, I like the idea, actually, I like the concept of Camerupt. I'm going to put him at the top of Meh. I like the concept that Camerupt just becomes like a volcano erupting on his back. Really rate that. However, I just don't think it's enough. Like, boil it down to everything. Camerupt, Sharpedo, Medicham. Who cares about those Pokemon? Does anyone really care enough about those Pokemon for them to think, you know what, people are going to love the fact that these have Mega Evolutions, the fact that you've chosen those over so many other Pokemon that people do love. I'd have thought Snorlax potentially could have been a pretty interesting Mega. I know he got a Gigantamax form, which we'll talk about next week, which is awesome. But you know, that's just one example of more iconic and more fan favorite Pokemon that don't have one. And Sharpedo, no one uses Sharpedo. No one, surely, unless he's actually really good in a competitive stance. No one says, "Oh, my favorite Pokemon is Sharpedo." No one says, "Oh, my favorite Pokemon is Camerupt." It just doesn't happen. So that's why they're going to Meh specifically. You know what? For the same reason, I think Glalie can join them. I don't like the design. I don't mind Glalie, but again, it's another one where it's just like, you know, I could do the same for Absol. If I'm going off this logic, I could potentially even put Lopunny in there. You know what? Let me just fucking put Latias. I'm going to do it. I might catch some flack for that. I prefer Latias's design over Latios's design. However, their regular designs, one's blue, one's red. They both become purple, which I guess makes sense because it's the sort of, when you mix red and blue, it's purple. So, of course, makes sense. They could have, at the very least, done different shades of purple, made them look a bit more distinct. Realistically, they just look like the same Pokemon in a different pose, and for that reason, they're going in Meh. I don't think enough. It's not enough. You know, it's just not good enough. Not good enough. Not cool enough. Not badass. It's just the same thing. It's just the same design for them, but purple, and just doesn't do it for me. Doesn't tickle it. No, not feeling it. Not feeling Latias at all. The more I looked at it, the more I was like, I can't put it in good because it's just the same Pokemon. It's the exact same Pokemon. So these are the Mez. I don't know. Flashback to the beginning of the video where I said this is my favorite gimmick and I really like the designs, or I really like most of them. It is my favorite gimmick, and the thing I like about Megas is when you Mega Evolve someone, it lasts for the full fight. You've obviously got terrestrialization is the gimmick from. It's not necessarily the Paradox Pokemon, the gimmick Pokemon. Well, they are, but they're not. It's not the battle gimmick for Scarlet and Violet. It's terrestrialization, which looks shit. I like the concept of a crystallization for a Pokemon, where the typing changes. That could be really cool. Like, I don't know, this might be quite a niche reference to make, but there's an episode in like the original Pokemon series where I don't know if they fight. I think they fight an Onix, and it's like crystallized, and its typing changes, and that's in the original show. Which at the time they didn't say it was terrestrializing, but basically it looked just like an Onix, but it was crystallized. It didn't have the stupid fucking hat. And if they did that, and if they just had regular Pokemon, like the build of a regular Pokemon, but it was crystal, made of crystal, and it changed its type, that would be absolutely fine. It's the hat that just completely, anyway, that's completely. We're not even talking about. We're not talking about that now. But we'll get into the goods, because I think unless I change my mind halfway through talking about something, everything in these ones are good. I want to talk about Manectric. It kind of suffers from a similar a similar issue that Camerupt, Sharpedo, and Medicham have. I do like electric type Pokemon more than sort of, I mean, more than what? More than ice type, definitely. But like, I think Manectric, the design that they go for, where he's basically just a giant thunderbolt, is pretty cool. But also, he kind of looks a bit like a hedgehog, and I like hedgehogs, so that's why he's going in good. I'll put Lopunny in good as well. The hair extends. There's not much more design wise, but I just think it looks pretty cool. It looks, the way I see it is, it looks like a upgrade. It does. It looks more like a fighting type. It looks like it would be a very mean fighting type Pokemon. It kind of just gives off Hitmonlee vibes for some reason. Obviously with the kicking. I don't know why. I could potentially be the only person that thinks that, but that's how I feel about Mega Lopunny. I want to talk about Mega Gallade. Now I put Mega Gardevoir in meh, but Mega Gallade goes in great. It's got like the scythe arm, and it's got like the cloak as well. Kind of in this image looks a bit like a sword and a shield kind of vibe, which I really like. I think is a great sign. We can talk about more greats. I'll happily talk about more greats. I'm trying to leave as many in there. I don't want to put any in my top 5 yet, because I want to talk about each one of my top 5 specifically. But I'm going to put Mega Kangaskhan in good for now. I'm going to put it at the top of good, because obviously Kangaskhan has a baby in its pouch. Mega Kangaskhan, the baby is out the pouch. Is there any difference other than that? No. Does it matter? Not really. Still pretty cool. Mega Slowbro, fuck it. Good. It's a good design. The shoulder that becomes the tail essentially swallows him. His arms peek through and his tail peeks through. It kind of looks like a fucking Beyblade, which is pretty funny to me. Yeah, I think that's the sort of thing I have with Kangaskhan and Slowbro, and it's the same thing actually. I'm going to talk about Sableye as well in this little section, and I guess you could say it with Blastoise kind of applies. So Kangaskhan obviously goes from having the baby in the pouch to having the baby out. Slowbro, the thing on the tail, swallows it and it becomes more of the body. Sableye, the gem just becomes, he just has a massive fucking gem. And nothing else really changes. Nothing that, for me, Mega Sableye doesn't look particularly mega, but I just think, if anything, if I'm putting Kangaskhan and Slowbro in this category and I'm saying that, I mean, it's even the same with Charizard. He gets extra points on the Y1. Lopunny gets the longer hair. It kind of emphasizes one feature, and then that's kind of it. In terms of sort of the good. So, for example, Metagross, which is going in great because Metagross is a great Pokemon anyway. Spoiler alert. Basically, his feet turn. I know it's a weird way to describe it, but his feet turn, and there's not really a whole lot going on. Actually, Mega Scizor, I do like Scizor, or Skizor, Nothing really changes from Scizor to Mega Scizor in terms of design wise. He doesn't look much different, but Scizor's cool anyway, so he's going in good. But Metagross, yes, there's not much difference. It's just feet turn, which is weird that he's in great, but Metagross is a great Pokemon anyway, so by default goes in. Mega Sceptile gets basically a fucking Christmas tree tail. It just looks really cool to me. Sceptile I really like as well. Big fan of Sceptile, especially in the show. Obviously Ash's Sceptile is a joke. Is an absolute joke, and this Mega where he looks like a Christmas tree, I just think is really fun. So that's why he's going in great as well. I'm gonna put Beedrill I'm going to put it above Skizzle. I'm going to put it all the way above Manectric as well, because I don't rate Beedrill that much, but the Mega Evolution I like. It gets extra fucking spikes. It just looks bigger, meaner, nastier, and that's what we like to see. We like to see a bigger, meaner looking. Like, look at Swampert. Mega Swampert, great. Just looks mean as fuck. It just looks like a big, mean. He's gonna beat you up, and that's that. And fuck it. Blaziken, really like the color specifically in the design of Mega Blaziken. Physically, not a lot different. The flames are growing, and he's like got the black and red, which I'm a big fan of in terms of the design. Great. Another one that's great, Mega Ampharos. Look at that fucking hair. He looks sick. He looks really, really cool. Similar to Mega Alakazam, but I'm going to talk about Mega Alakazam in a bit. But Mega Ampharos just gets a really luscious mane of hair, and he just looks really good. Great design. Mega Altaria, the cloud just gets fluffier, and it's just awesome. No notes. Perfect. I like Altaria. I tell you what, let's switch gears. Let's talk about some not megas. Let's talk about Primal Groudon and Primal Kyogre. They're both going in great. I'm not going to put them higher than any of the Pokemon that are in there because they're technically not megas, but the designs for them are awesome. I absolutely love it, especially Groudon. I've always preferred Kyogre as like a Pokemon, as a legendary. I always liked Kyogre more, but the Primal Groudon looks so good. It just looks like an erupting molten lava volcano, you know, and that's what I like to see. I'm a big fan. We'll move on to Mega Abomasnow. Goes on to all fours, quite like that. Quite a lot of the time when you see Pokemon evolve, they go from on all fours to bipedal, sometimes unnecessarily. For example, the new games, Scarlet and Violet, Sprigatito ends up being Meowscarada, ends up being on 2 feet, kind of unnecessarily. Just give us a cat. Just give us a big cat. Don't give us a cat on 2 feet. Not necessary. Not needed. Why? Why do they have this desire to give us more anthropomorphic? So do the opposite. Take a Abomasnow who's on twos to one that's on all fours, and he just looks mean as. He just looks like he's gonna beat you up. And in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, in Pokemon Violet, when I played through it, I did use Abomasnow a bit, and then we got our Bolivar, which I actually really like. Our Bolivar is the olive plant that's like grass and flying. Or is it grass and normal? I think it's maybe grass and normal, but no flying type moves. Mega Abomasnow is very cool. Big fan. Big fan. I want to talk about Mega Aerodactyl. Might be difficult to see in the video because of how small these images are. But when I was making this, he's got like a pointy, almost like a rock beard and bits on his cheek that look jagged. And if you got rid of those 3 points, would look a million times better. But I am going to go for great. The bottom of great, but still great. I think it just adds the extra sharp rocks added to him. Just look, like I say, they just make him look like he means business more. This is going to pain me. Okay. I love me some Heracross. What I might actually do as well at some point is do how I did all ice types, all fighting types, and all ghost type Pokemons. I've done those as tier lists. I'm gonna do all bug types at one point because I like bug types. Bug types are cool. I don't use them very often, actually, which is a bit of a problem because I feel like I should use them more than I do. But I haven't used them really on any of my playthroughs. But I really like Heracross. And you know what? Pinsir's going in. Oh, is Pinsir going great or is he going top 5? Hang on. let me just hold on to Pinsir. I need to jump the gun. I got in my head that I was talking about bug types. Saw Pinsir. I was like, you know what? Pinsir's going into great. Let me hold off and put in Pinsir in a place at the moment. I'm looking at all of these and I'm thinking they are viable top 5 candidates, except for Steelix. Steelix is great. Mega Steelix, sorry. Steelix is still great. Mega Steelix, I like a lot. I like the crystals that he kind of has jagged out of him, and he has like a halo of crystals as well, which is very cool. Mega Banette's not going top 5. Mega Banette. I've never used Banette in a playthrough ever of any Pokemon. But the fact that Mega Banette is there, I'm hoping they appear in Legend ZA so I can like witness it, because it's just a really cool. I'm a big fan of like the red coloring in that design, how it like kind of because obviously the point of Banette is it's like a doll with a soul or a spirit inside it, so it kind of becomes unzipped and these red sort of tendrils and hands and feet come out, symbolizing the fact that maybe like the soul or the spirit has been freed. Big fan. I really like it. Actually, you know what? Fuck it, Banette, you're going above these guys as well. Let's not push your luck. But you're definitely just really cool. If say for example Sword and Shield, I'm 70% sure that either in Sword and Shield or Scarlet and Violet you can get Banette. I've never used them because in those games, if the Mega Evolution stuff existed, boom, I'm in there. I'm using Banette. But doesn't exist. Shall we get some really, really obvious top 5s out of the way? Shall we? I don't hear anyone arguing. You hear that? That's the sound of nobody arguing with this, because you cannot argue with the fact that Mega Charizard X and Mega Rayquaza are both top 5 Megas. Not a debate. Charizard X, I reckon actually a lot of people would say Charizard X is top 1. Is top 1? Number 1? I reckon quite a few people would say that Mega Rayquaza would be their number 1. Everyone loves Rayquaza, everyone loves Charizard. So, now we're going to do, I don't know, do they count as pseudo legendaries? I don't know what they you'll have to forgive me because I don't know the definition of what a pseudo legendary is. I think they're basically like the 3-stage dragon type Pokemons. So for example, Salamence, Garchomp, Tyranitar are all pseudo legendaries, are all 3-stage dragon types. Obviously Salamence, Dragon Flying, Garchomp, Dragon Ground, Tyranitar, Dragon Rock, if I'm not mistaken. All of these guys, they'll go. We'll stick them next to each other. But Tyranitar's the coolest one. Kind of looks a bit samurai-ish, like samurai armor-ish. Banging. Mega Salamence, those wings, majestic, perfect. And Mega Garchomp. Garchomp's my boy. I think Tyranitar is statistically the best out of the lot in terms of what Pokemon to use, but I'll always choose Garchomp if I'm going to choose like a pseudo legendary. I think I'm using that correctly. Garchomp would be my pick. I'm going to do Mawile, Mega Mawile, Mega Mawile. I feel like I'm saying that really weirdly now. I've said it a few times and now I can't Mawile. Love it. Awesome design. Big fan. Mega Aggron. Banger. Love it. Awesome design. Let's get serious now, because we've got 3 spaces in the top 5, sorry. 3 of these megas in this list. You know what? How many have we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I had to count them out. Couldn't see them. Gyarados, Pinsir. There we go. So, we filled out 2 of our top 5. These 5, I think, genuinely, it's so tough. I didn't think it would be this tough to decide. I can't put Pidgeot in the top. When you've got Megas that look like this, I just don't think I can put Pidgeot in the top 5. Okay, the top 5 are going to be ordered in 1 to 5 as well, by the way. Right, okay, let's be honest. Lucario gets in. Easy pick. I think that's an easy pick. And you know what? Hold on to your seats. Controversial take coming. Or maybe not a controversial take, but a hot take. Mega Houndoom is my number 1 favourite. I love Houndoom. Dark and Fire type Pokemon. Dog. Looks a bit like a Doberman, but also kind of looks like my dog. I used him for a bit in Violet. Didn't use him in the endgame team, but he featured. Not Mega Houndoom, obviously, just regular Houndoom. But the armor he looks mean. He looks like a badass, and I think it just looks so good. It just looks so good. My favourite one. I think Mega Charizard X is number 2. And Mega Rayquaza. I really like Mega Rayquaza is number 4. Mega Lucario is number 3. And I don't know if people would necessarily agree with these. But Mega Gengar and Mega Alakazam are 5 and 6, essentially. Now, I was thinking about it when I was making these, and I was looking at Gengar, and I was like, I love Gengar. Gengar is my number 1 favourite Pokemon of all time. It would be, if I did every single Pokemon ranked, Gengar would be on the number 1 spot. Hands down. Hands down. I don't think anyone genuinely comes like super close. It's just really annoying that in most games he's difficult to obtain because you have to obtain him by trading a Haunter. So unless you have a friend, i.e., so for example, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond, I had a friend who traded me their Haunter for my Haunter because they had Shining Pearl. And for example, in Scarlet and Violet, you can trade a certain Pokemon. I don't remember. Is it a Pincurchin maybe? For someone's Haunter, and then they send you the Haunter and it evolves. In Scarlet and Violet, you can find Gengar in... Not Scarlet and Violet. In Sword and Shield, you can find Gengar in 5-star raids, and he's also a very high-level Gengar that sometimes walks around the wild area, but very difficult to obtain. Or you can trade it. But I don't know where I got on this tangent, but I was looking at it and I was thinking, do I think that G-Max Gengar is better than Mega Gengar? But looking at it now, no. I like G-Max Gengar. I'll talk about that more next week. And let's talk about Alakazam. Generally speaking, don't use Alakazam. I like him a lot. But the Mega one, it's just something about it. He just gets 5 spoons. 2 spoons weren't enough. Apparently he's got more mates around. He's going to share some Ben and Jerry's with him. But it's the beard. I love the beard. I love the fact that he's like hovering, and he just looks like an old like monk sort of thing. Like he's at one with the world. He's at peace. He's meditating. He's loving life. But can I put that as number 5? Really? The answer is no. I'm going to put Gengar at number 5 and Alakazam basically at number 6. And I think that's my list. Mega Venusaur, like I said, just because it doesn't really do anything. Let me know in the comments if there's a major cock-up that I've done here. But I will die on the hill that Mega Houndoom is number 1. And I think that's a pretty solid top 5. I could see I could see people thinking that maybe Tyranitar, Garchomp, or Salamence should go in. I could see maybe people thinking that Mega Houndoom might be a bit of a rogue shout, and maybe Mega Gengar. But I think it's tough to argue. Obviously, this is all just, do I like the design? Do I think they look cool? Do I think they look good? Statistically, and in like competitive play, things like that, might work differently. I don't give a shit. At the end of the day, if I'm playing through a Pokemon game, I'm just using Pokemon that I like. Unless I'm doing some sort of challenge, for example. You know, if you do one where it's like you only catch the first Pokemon that you see on a route, then you're kind of limited. But generally speaking, I'll just use Pokemon that I enjoy using. And most of the time, it involves Gengar and it involves Garchomp. When I did Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, I had all 3 of the original starters in the team. I had Eevee in the team. I think I had Dragonite and Articuno as my team, and I can't remember exactly the rest of them, but I know I've had Gengar in Diamond, and he featured in Scarlet and Violet and the likes. Usually it'll be the starter Pokemon, and then just any Pokemon that I fancy, and that's how it should work. I think people get too hung up on, is this Pokemon statistically good? Is the typing good? I do tend to pick Pokemon wherein I'll have different types covered. I don't usually like having 2 of the same type in my team. For that example, you know, in Scarlet and Violet, you can get both Garchomp and Salamence. I probably wouldn't have them both because they're both dragon types, and it might fuck you up. Things like that. But yeah, that's my list. If you agree or disagree, probably disagree, let me know. I'll be back next week for another Pokemon tier list. We'll do Gmax forms. But I hope you enjoyed. Leave a like if you did. Click the subscribe button. We're on the route to 500 subscribers. And at 500 subscribers, I'm doing a special stream, which has been discussed in previous streams. So if you don't know what the special stream is, just subscribe and it'll come up. Yeah? And it'll be a surprise. And we'll all be happy. I'll be happy because I've got 500 subscribers. You'll be happy because you get a special stream. Job's a good one. But thank you for watching. Take care, everybody. And goodbye.